And welcome to week 2 of Composition 1. Last week we did a lot of fun things, at least fun to me. But one of those things I like to do is the question and answer forum. I think they're good for all of us to read as well because you can see that we all have the same expectations. We all want to do well. I want you to do well. I want you to approach this with an open mind and make sure that you understand that I'm here for your success and to help you meet the course goals. That's why I've structured the class the way I have structured it. But I do want to answer some of the questions you have asked me, and I've just kind of copied and pasted them right here that you can see. So concerns about the course. Will we have any presentations? And the answer is no. I'm not going to require you to go out and figure out how to do a webcam. Your other classes might, but for this class, no. Composition 2 is going to have a presentation that you have to do. This class does not have presentations. You're presenting your ideas on paper through writing, which is fine. So hopefully that calms any of your nerves about public speaking. The old joke is that, of course, public speaking is the number one fear over dying. So people would rather die in a fire than have to give a speech. And Jerry Seinfeld's joke is, people fear public speaking so much that if they were at a funeral, they would rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy, which is kind of true for a lot of people. But the more you do it, the easier it'll get for you. Am I approachable? I think that means, can you come to me with questions, concerns? Yes, you can. Approachable can mean lots of things, and we won't go into that. But yeah, approachable. I try to be friendly. Shoot me an email, send me a text, find me on campus if you're on campus. I'm always willing to help you out and answer your questions. And one of the tasks in week 1 was for you to send me an email. Most of you have done that. Not all of you have, so you missed that. So make sure you send me that email so you can get my response. 2 questions about how grading is going to work. I like to think if it's fairly easy. I should have pulled up the grade book. But I won't share that with you because then you're going to see how everybody else is doing, and I don't think that's right. But what will happen is that for discussion boards, you're getting points for doing it. So there's a lot of just showing up and doing the work and keeping up with it, and that does filter out a lot of people who procrastinate. So please check this class several times a week. You can't just sit down on Sunday night and get it all done. It's going to be too much work. So that's one way things are going to be graded. The other way things are going to be graded is through Turnitin. That's the primary way I'm going to be looking at your work. You will, there's if you go through my YouTube channel, you'll see like at the very bottom there's a thing about grading on Turnitin. You'll see that I provide in-text comments, meaning I will be looking at your writing and I'll highlight something and a little text box will pop up. Then I also use that rubric that's in the syllabus. You'll see that there. I use that for all the major writing. Most of the time, I'm just giving you feedback. I will give you a paragraph or 2 of feedback saying what I think works well. I always start off with positive comments. Then I do a little bit of critical things. And I focus on the big issues. I am not looking at, oh, you missed a comma, so you suck, and I'm giving you an F. That's not going to happen. Instead, we're going to look at the overall structure and organization of your essay. Is it doing what it's supposed to do? So hopefully through our peanut butter and jelly exercise, we're learning a little bit about writing already just by doing it and seeing how it works from reading other people's writing. That's at least the goal. Other times it'll just be me reading it, but I'll be giving you feedback. We will be trying to do peer-reviewed feedback through Turnitin. We'll see how that goes. It might be a disaster, but we'll try to make it work. It's a lot of holistic looking at the bigger picture. Are you saying what you're supposed to say? And that's the growth in writing. The rest is doing the work, just doing your best at it. What kind of penalties assessed for submitting one late assignment? You don't get credit for it. If you don't turn it in, I on time, I'm not going to grade it. Sometimes I'm nice and I give you half credit. Depends on how late it is. I'm not sitting up at midnight grading your work, waiting for it to come in. So if it's a little late, that's okay. The major writing assignments, your big essays, that you have to, oh, I can't say essays, big writing situations or problems, the magazine analysis, research narrative, the critique, those have to be in on time or the 24-hour grace period. If they're not in and I never get it, you can't pass the class. That's part of the rule in the syllabus. Please check that out if that surprises you. But yeah, I have to grade all those major writing assignments. You have to turn something in. So turn something in, even if it's crappy. Work on your time period. And I think, or time planning. I think this second question below it, I worry that I will forget something. That's a big concern. I worry about that as an instructor. I'm like, do I have an online class that I've forgotten about? So you have to take diligent notes. I try to make that checklist. It should be there in that week 1 or week 2, week whatever assignment. So there will always be a link for what needs to be done. If it's not there, you are not accountable, right? So keep that in mind. Just ask me questions. What's due this week? I'll write it out for you. I do my best to try to help you understand things. Blackboard has a calendar feature where the due dates will be there. You can check that out as well. It's right in that homepage. Again, presentations. You're all nervous about presentations. Don't be. All right. So hopefully that assuages any concerns you have. If not, write to me. Okay. Secondly, some personal questions. Ask me something that no one else has asked me before. Here's some good ones. Do I take the shampoo and conditioner bottles from hotels? No one's asked me that. Sometimes I do. They're kind of cool. Sometimes my daughter, she's 12, she likes to try out new soaps and things like that. So I'll bring those for her, or they're good if I'm traveling somewhere else. What's my favorite part about an online class? I don't know. It's a lot of work. Online classes are a lot of work for me. They're a lot of work for you because you have to sit there and read. I have to type everything out. I'm working better on trying to type out transcripts for all my videos. Not doing it for this one, but my other ones, yeah. So it's a lot of work. Everyone thinks they're easier. They're not. So my favorite part, I think, I like making these videos. It's fun, I guess. I don't know. But I kind of like the end where I see that students actually learn because I feel like I'm just throwing stuff out there and I don't know if anybody's learning anything. And then they're like, yeah, I get it. So that's kind of cool for me. I like that action, that result at the end. Do I not like having physical? That sounds kind of gross. I like face-to-face teaching better than online. Online does offer me some freedoms to do things that I don't always do, but when you're teaching face-to-face, I can look out there and say, hey, you are sleeping or you look confused. What's going on? We can be more spontaneous, which I like because I don't like plan out my lessons and my days, point by point by point by point. I just kind of go with the flow and what is needed for that day. I might have 2 classes back in a row, and I don't say the same thing in both of them. I same ideas, but with online classes, I have to be a little more careful with that. And I try to. It does force me to think about what I'm doing and plan better. Man, I don't know if that's really interesting to you or not. I'm sorry. Do I like to read? No, I hate it. Really? Of course I do. Just like all of us, we like to read things. There's specific things I'd rather read than, other things. It gets a little tedious to read a bunch of student essays, and so I'm trying different approaches to get better writing rather than the same formulaic paper every time, and that's part of helping you write better as well. So when I look forward to reading student papers, that means I think I'm doing my job well as also. If I could only teach online or in person, what would I choose? Definitely in person, just because, that interaction and seeing somebody, I think it benefits all of us. As a student online, you're going to feel like you're just doing all this in isolation. And so I'm trying some things that'll make it feel like you're working with others, but it's hard. If you are just a solely online student, you feel so isolated and you don't have that motivation and those relationships that you develop with your classmates. And if I had to change professions, what would I choose? I don't know. Go in the medical field or something in science. I don't know. I like engineering. I've always liked science, and probably should have done that. But it's cool. I like what I'm doing here too. that's the great thing about having multiple interests. You can pursue them all. But medical field, that would be neat as well. A lot of cool stuff. A lot of wonderful jobs out there. Don't even feel like you, with your major, are pigeonholed into that and locked into it life. Like 40 years from now, when you're 65, you're going to be doing the same job. It's probably not going to happen. You're probably going to switch. So follow your interest. See where they take you. Anyway, so I hope that helps answer some of your questions. I'll be posting this, and you can watch this or not. We'll see what happens. But anyway, I always like answering questions. It makes me seem real. It reveals a little bit more about who you are as well, and what you think is important. So I hope you have a good week.